Yeah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Gunjur Online TV viewers, welcome to another episode of Daily COVID-19 Update. I will be discussing how Chinese investment could hamper Gambia recovery from COVID-19. If you haven't seen Nyanjai's video from the Denton Bridge, please go and see it. You will be love it. You will be really, really angry. What is going in the Gambia? I keep telling people, Chinese are not in the Gambia or Africa for picnic. They come to replace us. We have the Western world come to colonize, and they went, but they keep us mentally colonized. Anyways, neocolonialism is still on. But the Chinese, their plan is to exterminate us and replace us in our own country, and the signs are there for all to see. So it's left to us now, especially the younger generation, to stand up, and actually confront what is going on in our country. It cannot continue like that. As usual, what I will do, I'll give you daily COVID-19 update, then I will come to this topic, what I mean by that. As of today, 25,775,128 people got infected with COVID-19 since it announced its arrival in Wuhan in December 2019. And so far, 857,452 people died as a result of COVID-19 infection, and 18,045,483 people recovered from COVID. And out of the total number of COVID infections, 6,872,223 are currently infected. And out of that number, 6,811,073 people in mild conditions. That include the asymptomatic and those with cough, headache, persistent cough, and on some occasions, loss of sense of taste and smell, and also what we call COVID-19 too, and also rash tongue. Currently, 61,150 people are critically ill with COVID-19, and the numbers are showing worldwide are slowing down, even though the European control it very much. But we've seen places like England, France, the numbers, and Scotland, the numbers starts spiking up again. But instead of locking down the whole country, they are now locking down cities regionally, just not to cause permanent bigger damage, to curtail the damage to the overall economy. But this virus is not going anytime soon, and we have to prepare for the worst. and we have to learn quickly how to live with this virus, because all indications is not going anytime soon, and maybe when we have the vaccination for it, it might help us. Past 24 hours numbers, 146,837 new cases across the world, 2,998 dead, past 24 hours. And countries close to the Gambia, so far, Ivory Coast recorded 18,067 COVID infections, and past 24 hours they recorded 119 new cases. Senegal so far recorded 13,655 and 44 new cases. Guinea Conakry so far 9,409 cases and 38 new cases past 24 hours. Mauritania 7,048 cases so far and 32 new cases past 24 hours. And Gambia so far 3,029, 66 new cases past 24 hours. Mali, Bissau and Sierra Leone, they don't record any new numbers past 24 hours, but Mali so far 2,776 and Sierra Leone 2,205 and Burkina Faso 1,307. They recorded 2 new cases, and Liberia 1,304. So today's topic, Gambia is still, we are far behind the curve. We need to go on top of that curve, flatten it, then come down. We are not yet in the recovery position yet, but it's important to discuss, factors that might actually make it very, very difficult in our recovery, because lack of proper diet is a comorbidity for COVID. What I mean by that, if you are malnourished, it can make COVID-19 symptoms worse for you. And we know Gambia, this is a general problem. Malnutrition is widespread, is very common. And, in places like Combo, especially the Combo coastal settlements, this is not very, very much pronounced in the previous years when there is plenty of fish, for everybody to share. But with the coming of the Chinese fish meal factories, these bring lot of competition between the factories and the general public. For example, Golden Lead Fish Meal Factory, which is located in Gunjur, is the smallest among the 3 fish meal factories that are in Combo South. That is one in Sanyang and one in Katong. But the smallest one, which is Golden Lead, every day they need like 1,000 tons of fish. 1,000 tons. That's like how to 1,000 divided by times 50. Times 1,000 times 1,000. That's like 10,000 bags of rice. Could you mean 50 kilogram bags of rice? That's a lot of fish every day. And what the Chinese did also, they contracted most of these fishermen to them. So if they go to sea and they don't catch anything, that's like it is like a loan now. So this is a big problem, because they have the first option. When the fishermen came, they have to supply them. Then it's now the leftover that is left to the fishmongers and also women whose livelihood depend on these fish. This is a big problem, because what it does is, anywhere there is a competition, of course, you expect the prices to go up. So these women, actually, they can't compete anymore. In fact, some of them have to abandon working at the beach and return to the vegetable gardening. And we've seen how sand mining also took most of these vegetable gardening fertile grounds. So the challenge is unbelievable. On the women of Combo. This cannot continue. And these and other land grabbing and other challenges. That's why we initiate a platform here which we discuss these challenges and how we can speak in one voice and challenge the government. Cumberland issues, we say, okay, Salaji should be a turning point. Yesterday, Dr. Ismaila Cisse was here discussing COVID and effect on democratic changes. But today, Chinese investment and how it will hamper our recovery. Why recovery? Why thinking about recovery now? Because COVID recovery is going to be even more challenging than the pandemic itself. Because with all these control measures, lockdowns, and all that, is going to disrupt the food supply food chain. So that means most of our food we eat, unfortunately, we have to import them. And if, for example, China, India, Pakistan, most of the places these rice come from, they are going serious issues with the pandemic. So once the supply chain is disrupted, is going to add lot of pressure on the price of these foods. So that's where we need our own natural resources. Unfortunately, we have people who are whining and dining like the Ministry of Fisheries. We don't expect these people to come to their senses and introduce measures that is going to curtail or dampen down the effects of what I'm about to mention here. Because 1,000 tons, if golden lead alone need that means if we take the safer side, because the golden lead is smallest among the two, so we're going to go with the smallest numbers. That means if you put all the three fish meal together, they need 3,000 tons. 1 ton is 1,000 kilograms. And 50 kilogram bags, how many of that you have in 1 ton? That's like 20. So 20 by 1,000, 20,000 bags of rice every day. That's what they need, just for their daily capacity. And on weekly basis, Golden Lead export 20,000 bags of fish powder. This is a powder. They already process these fish. They take the oil out, and this oil, they have two types of oil. The heavy oil they use to fuel or to generate power to cook the fish. The light oil they expose, which is a very lucrative, because this is what the pharmaceutical industry use, for lot of ingredients for different kind of medications. But the fish powder, 20,000. So again, we're going to go in the saver side. If Golden Lead alone is expecting 20,000 bags weekly, that's like 60,000 bags of fish meal powder is being exported on weekly basis. And if you multiply that by a month for all the three factories, that's like 240,000 bags of fish meal powder. This is unbelievably unsustainable. But unfortunately, the people who are supposed to protect the interests of the common man, the Minister of Fisheries and his permanent secretaries, decided, you know what, we don't give a shit. Once soon as they have their packs, they are happy to turn a blind eye. So this is the situation. What can we do as citizens? Gambia is a funny country. It's a country where everybody wants somebody to fight for them. Nobody wants to take out the fight. Even people's own fight, they want somebody to go and fight for them. This will not work. It's about time Gambians realize, what, we cannot let few selfish individuals to mortgage the very existence of the country, because without food we will all die. Once these fees, the competition start increasing, basically what it does, the prices start going up. So in resources limited settings like ours, people will cut the amount of money they spend on fish and spend it on other condiments. That means our daily protein intake is going to be severely decimated. And once your protein intake is not up to the marks, you become malnourished. And once you are malnourished, it weakens your immune system. So even not COVID-19, but a weakened immune system makes one susceptible to all kind of infections. And that's why still infectious disease kill more people in sub-Saharan Africa than any part of the world. And the coming of the Chinese is going to make that really worse. So this is a good opportunity. We have this pandemic. I think our fisheries ministry or the environmental ministry, and the trade ministry not to come and renegotiate, especially these licenses, if they have any anyway, because Golden Lead started operation before they even have a license. They don't even have a certificate for environmental impact assessment, which is a prerequisite for these kind of factories. Environmental impact assessment, what I mean by that is they will come and assess the pros and cons of the factory, what it'll do. But once they assess everything, the final and the most important part of environmental impact assessment is called the community engagement. You go to the community and explain to them, well, this particular factory that is going to be operating here, these are the pros and cons. For example, there's very little they can do about the smell once they are operating, and the amount of fish they're going to need will put a lot of pressure on fish demand, and that means you people have to pay a little bit more or more, for your daily fish. So all these need to be properly explained to the populations. But it never happened. So you can see how systems were completely broken down, and unfortunately, this government, which excuse me, which supposed to be a transition government, to come and build those structures, got distracted, and its politics, as soon as everybody got into their office. So we are all distracted. So the systems are still broken as they are, and the public are left to fend for themselves. So that's why my aim is to educate the youths, because it is you and us, the little bit older ones, whose very presence and future is being jeopardized. So we cannot let this government, because they don't have time anyway. The government is preoccupied how they can entrench themselves and how they can stay there as long as possible. They don't care about the common man. That is obvious for all to see. And if you think the government, is doing worse, what about the opposition? Because they're supposed to be the alternative government. They're supposed to be the alternative leaders. They're supposed to show to the common people, the voters, the alternative. If we are there, this is how we will do it. And that would not be just talking. They will be constantly holding the government to account. Recently, we heard my party made a statement about how he will close these fish meal factories if he is voted into power. But before that, which other political party or politician you hear they mention Golden Lead or any of these fish meal factories? This is what is hurting Gambia. There is no alternative leadership. The only leadership that is keeping that country going, I can say, is coming from the diaspora. It's coming from the diaspora. And also the other arm of the government. We should be holding this government to account to make sure they do the right thing. If they go astray, they put them back, because they have oversight powers. The parliament. When was the last time I had Tuma Useno, as in the health ministry, the fisheries ministry, about the state of beaches along the Congo coast? Last time, but that's not consistent. That's not consistent enough. And considering the fact that the majority leader of the parliament is from Combo South, and rectifying the wrongs, that have been done by the Chinese under the previous regime, he promised to regulate them. But where is he once he got into the office? He don't even, bother. In fact, he picked up a fight with the environmentalists, calling us names, calling us saboteurs of this government. Well, then it was the UDP before they fall out anyway, before will start coming off. So if we criticize the government, we have to look at the people also we voting for, because any consequence, you have a representative that's supposed to go there and represent you. But are we being properly represented in the parliament? I don't think so. Anyway, Kombosad, we are not. I can say that for fact. We are not. We are not. With all this destruction, with all this noise coming from the activists, where are our parliamentarians who's supposed to be our voices? Who's supposed to hold this government to account? So if we say the box stop with the president, but then the box start with us. What are you doing about this as a common man? What are you doing about it? We should all ask that questions. And if we could come up with the answer, if we all ask it through, we evaluate ourselves about our attitudes about these kind of events, what do we do about it? And what should we do about it? If we ask, if you answered, with honesty, by this time the Chinese, they will be closed or they will be properly regulated. Because the benefit they bring compared to the destruction they are doing to our environment, and the threat and the hardship they bring to the common man, the food shortage, they bring to the common man, it can be equated. We can very much do without these fish meal factories. And what really made me sad about African companies, these are not that much capital investment. Why not? Our government themselves cannot invest in these fish meal factories. Send the Chinese away. Take their factories and pay them off. Employ so we can have the foreign exchange here. This is a very, very lucrative business. So we are being made poorer and poorer because we cannot even use our own resources properly. All the Chinese do is just come and cook fish, dry it and turn it into powder and export it. And beside their waste, not an ounce is left in this country, including the raw cash they gain from it. It all goes. How can that be sustainable? How can any responsible government allow that to continue any longer? And they are telling us we inherited from Yajam. Well, Yajam has been away now for over 3 years. If you cannot sort these things out in 3 years, then you don't deserve another day in that office. And Gambians, let's stop fighting each other. We have a common enemy. That is the government, and that's the government. And our parliamentarians, we have to really evaluate these people. What are their records in the community before they go into these positions? What are their educational backgrounds? We have to scrutinize these people. Because some of them, I don't even believe they can read policy documents and understand them. I don't think some of them, in fact, are in tune with what is going on, even across the border in Senegal, because it beggars belief. You are voted, in fact, you're not only voted, they paid for your campaign and everything. You are voted in, they give you a job, a very privileged position. But you go there and misrepresent or don't even care. That cannot continue. So Gambians, if we are serious about progress, these are some of the things we need to look at. The kind of people we go in. It's serious. This is serious. So basically, COVID is here. We don't even know how long we're going to struggle with it because we don't even have the capacity to test. We don't have the capacity now to even quarantine positive cases. Over 2,000 positive COVID cases are right now living with their community. They are advised to go and self-isolate. In our family settings in Uganda, how is that possible? Because you hear Europeans are being they ask them to go and self-isolate. Maximum household in Europe is not more than 4. It's about 3 maximum most of the time, or 4 maximum. So it is possible, and they have the resources. And they have the resources also to monitor them. Gambia, we don't have the resources to monitor these isolating patients. We don't have the discipline to actually self-isolate. You ask somebody to self-isolate, next thing you know, they are in the mosque, shouting, arguing with everybody, top of their voice. Next thing you know, they are at a christening ceremony, drinking attire, exchanging the cup with, 2 to 20 people. So this is the challenge we face. That's why I'm not very optimistic. I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. I cannot, work it out. Might be need trained epidemiologists, but the situation in Gambia is very, very dire, and we have to accept that. But what we cannot accept, why should we continue allow the Chinese to continue to plunder our most valuable resources? I mentioned about Nyanjai's video. You see the Chinese in our Greek. That's supposed to be a leisure area. It's not a fishing area. But Chinese boat lining, with their small huts inside the field. So they're doing everything in that world, toilets and everything, throwing their waste into that creek. Oils coming from their ship is been, washed, to the mangrove. These again, the people are going to suffer most are the human, the oyster harvesters there. These women form a very important component of our economy. At personal level, that's the money they use to feed themselves and their family and to send their kids to school. But then we have Chinese to come and camp inside that water by the creeks, around the mangrove, living inside those boats. We think that's not normal. Gambians have to be angry enough and go and occupy and challenge these people. If our authorities don't care, we need to take responsibility. I love Nyanjai very much for taking that responsibility to go and film. And everybody now see it for themselves. Now it's about time we take a collective action against this recklessness from our government. We shouldn't allow this to continue anymore. Chinese coming to our shores, doing whatever they like, and they are getting away with it. You go to China, you speak in public, next thing you will be in prison. We've seen earlier on what they do to Africans, even though it's them who introduced this virus to the world. They give this virus to the world, but they turn back and try to smear Africans in China, rounding them up. Landlords sending Africans tenants, from their houses, university quarantine people, locking them in their room for months. But yet we allow them across Africa, doing things that, if our citizens do, they probably will be in prison. That is mental slavery. That need to stop. Yeah, so, just to paraphrase, every day, 3,000 tons of fish is being processed by these 3 fish meal factories. Every week, they are exporting 60,000 tons of fish meal powder out of the country. Nothing is left here, and all the foreign exchange they earn also go. Every month, 240,000 bags of fish meal powder is going out. This is essential protein Gambians need right now. But we cannot have it because what the Chinese does, they contract all the fisher folks. When they come, they have the first options. Then the leftover is sold to us at an exorbitant price. You will not believe it. The Chinese are buying fish cheaper from the fisher folks than Gambians in our own country. And we think that's normal. Thank you all for viewing. Inshallah, we continue the conversation tomorrow with a different topic. Please share the video as much as you like. Thank you. Allah Barakah.
Godili